Another week of football and another Bengals win. Bengals improved to 4-5, the first home win of the season. In week 9, they get it done 41-24 over the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know if a lot of people anticipated, you put up 40 points. That's great and all, but it was great to get a bounce back win, to be honest. I wasn't overly satisfied with this win. I mean, the way that, we looked at time, that's just not what a contender's supposed to look like if you are going to be a contender. But, something that you got to take away, especially with the season that we're having, just rough season, off season, or off field drama, rather. You got to just appreciate it's the first home win. The Bengals, they improved to 1-4 at home and 4-5 on the season. So you take that. So we get it done, man. Let's look at the offense, man. So Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns, a big boost to that offense. Obviously, I mean, this dude is all world. And, Chase Brown had a career high game. He had 120 yards on the ground. It has to feel good for him. I'm not saying, people are, disrespecting Mixon. I mean, I agree people are disrespecting Mixon in terms of, like, what he can do. But that offense just suits him better. I mean, we don't run the ball effectively as much as we should have. So that had to feel good for Chase Brown, just kind of getting that breakout game finally. And then Mike Gesicki had an incredible game. A lot of receivers got involved. Chase had a solid game. And they stepped up without T. Higgins, without Jermaine Burton, who's a healthy scratch. Overall, just solid offensive showing, man. So very proud of it. A lot of it came, just down the stretch. I mean, it was a little bit of a weird start. Yeah, I believe it was 10-10 with 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and then thankfully we were able to double dip. And that's why I say it's best for this team, they got to kick it off. They can't come in and receive the ball. It hasn't worked as much as it should. So it's going to be important for us to, come out and just kick the ball. That's like what we got to do. So offense looked good, and, just see what happens when you do that. I mean, it didn't work the beginning part of last year. It hasn't worked much this year. It did during the stretch that we won 4 games last year where we, kick off or we receive the ball first. But I just think you got to kick it off. But anyway, look at the defense, man. Less said about this dude, the better. Trey Hendrickson, he had a career high 4 sacks. He has to be number 1 in the league right now, but there was a couple fumbles also. Logan Wilson had a fumble recovery, 2 fumble recoveries, I believe. I forgot who got the second one, but that was just a big killer for the Raiders, who were driving down. I think they were at the 45-yard line and just slowly making their mark down the field. But overall, the pass rush looked really good against the suspect Raiders offensive line, yes, but something that we haven't seen much of, like, as much recently, especially with the thin D line that we have. I know BJ Hill got hurt today, so I hope he's okay. But big pass rush, and that just kind of shows that we have potential on that defense. But they're still giving up some big plays. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, my area of concern, guys, some inconsistent pass protection for Joe Burrow. I mean, they were a little bit, they obviously are way better than they were last year, and Orlando Brown should be coming back soon. But just haven't been able to get healthy. And that's what I think that's caused the inconsistent pass protection. I mean, Joe Burrow, he got sacked a couple times, I believe, but there was times where he, got hit a lot. But, it was still a solid showing from the offensive line. It just wasn't consistent today. But the defense still allowed some big plays. I mean, they gave up obviously that garbage time touchdown to Brock Bowers, but Bowers was able to get some separation. It's just one of those things where you got to just tighten up. But the run defense, they held their own. I didn't like the execution of the Bengals down the stretch. I'm not going to lie. I did not like how they, they kind of, not collapsed, but that pick 6 from Joe, that was really, really costly, and that obviously changed the momentum. And then they got the ball back, and then if it wasn't for a 4th down stand, I mean, you could be looking at, a much closer game. So, it was just a good stand by the defense, but I expect more from the offense. I mean, when you put the game away, you got to keep your foot on the gas, especially against a team that, that you should beat and you were expected to beat. So it was good to see them win, but I want to see a lot better execution, because the coaching staff they still don't have a lot of faith from the fan base. So you got to just prove that you can execute. And I don't like those back shoulder throws. Like I said, it just does not work. And my takeaways, like I said, the offense is gaining momentum. The consistency, it's just needed. I mean, no punt, or we had 1 or 2 punts today. That's great. But the defense is still vulnerable, especially in coverage. I mean, there was a couple PIs. CTB had a solid showing, but got to clean up the mistakes, man. And there has to be better play calling. We need to stop. Like, I think to Yoshivach, we tried to throw a back shoulder throw to the right side. It just got broken up. And same with Chase. I mean, Chase, it just has not worked, especially like in a moment where you're trying to close out a game. You got to just continue running the ball. I mean, at this point, it's like it feels a lot predictable. And that's what really bothers me about, some of the some of the play calling. But overall, man, it was a good win. I mean, the offense did their thing. The defense also showed that they can, they can win you some games, and they're improving. But they're still vulnerable, and that's just something we got to figure out. However it goes, something we got to figure out. But it was a good win overall, man. And like I said, when we beat the Giants and the Browns 2 straight weeks, I said we have to just like enjoy the win. I mean, it was a tough loss, last week. But this is like a new win. We won 3 of our last 4, which is always a good sign. But it's just one of those things you gotta enjoy. So I'm gonna enjoy this win. Obviously, there's some takeaways I want to get into, but that's the thing that I have. The thing I have to say about this team is just like you just need better execution, and that's gonna win. That's gonna get you complete games. So those are my takeaways, man. But we got to continue building momentum. Obviously, we are 4-5. We got some critical games against 2 very good teams, the Ravens and the Chargers. The Ravens obviously beat us in Cincinnati back in week 5, and just got to continue building chemistry on the defense, offense. Just everything needs to come together, and we need to string up some wins here, man. But quick turnaround. Thursday Night Football in Baltimore, same place, same time as last year. We know what their fans did. They obviously, or some of their fans, not all of them, they chanted, F Joe Burrow after he got hurt. So I think Joe has to go in there and he just has to feel out that defense. And I think he's going to be hungry. So we'll just see if the team can execute, man, because that's a tough challenge over there. So just enjoy it. Enjoy the game. Just enjoy this victory, first of all. I mean, it's a 4-day turnaround. So got to go in there and just play. You just gotta do what you gotta do. But right now, guys, it's Sunday. Enjoy the game. Have a great one, and I will see you guys in the next video for Victory Monday. Who Day, guys, as always.